Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our next demo with HSI Blue Ocean Brain. Engage and upskill your workforce with learning done differently. I'm very pleased to introduce Erin Riley, Senior Account Executive, and Hannah Yanowski, Account Executive with Blue Ocean Brain. They're going to walk us through this next demo. So Erin and Hannah, please take it away.
Thanks, Jess. Thank you everyone for joining today. We have about 30 minutes here with you all, and I'm sure you are getting a lot of information today on a lot of different options. And so what Hannah and I are really going to try and focus on today is what makes us different. We are a content team at heart, focusing on all soft skills development. We create new lessons 5 days a week. And there are quite a different variety of aspects that go into the strategic creation of those materials and then how we serve you. So with that, I am Erin Riley. As Jess said, I am a senior account executive. I have had the pleasure of doing this for going on 10 years now. And I've got Hannah Yanowski with me here as well. And she brings a lot of liveliness and color. And we're going to go back and forth between us today in terms of what we're delivering for you here with these slides. I really strongly encourage you to jump in. Ask questions in the chat. Jess and her team are going to be delivering those questions back to us and raising their hands. So as these questions arise, we can answer them real time. So first of all, what sets us apart? So we are a content team at heart. Everything that we deliver is roughly about 10 minutes long. We like to call ourselves the original microlearning vendor. Back when we started doing this in around 2010, microlearning wasn't really a thing. Since then, it's changed quite a bit. And now what people talk about in terms of microlearning are quite a few different things. And so I'm going to explain how our microlearning is a little bit different from some of the other microlearning experiences that are out there. Our microlearning is about 10 to 15 minutes long. It has a variety of learning modalities. So we've got some articles, we've got some videos, we've got some quizzes, we've got some podcasts, we've got some gamification. We've got all these little different snippets that engage your learners, because each one of your learners is going to have a different preference in terms of how they like to absorb materials. And we want to meet them where they are. What makes us different in that microlearning world isn't only the amount of different modalities that we offer, but it's also that each of our lessons stands alone. A lot of the microlearning vendors that are out there now take longer longer learning experiences and bookmark them. And the problem with that is it really assumes that the learner remembers where they left off, and that is just not always the case. So ours is sort of a Lego style fashion that builds upon itself, but if you miss one in the middle, it's you're going to pick up very easily because it can stand alone. All of our content is globally relevant. And so what we will do is we will pull in things like pop culture. We will pull in live news events that have happened recently. We're developing content 5 days a week, and we keep our finger on the pulse of what people are talking about by constantly asking for requests from our clients as to what's the latest and greatest, what's new. And we want your learners to lean in based on an awareness that this is something that was created very recently. So when you think of yourself and you think of the things that you interacted with today already, it might have been the news or the weather. Maybe you've got Instagram or Facebook. You're doing it, whether you realize it or not, partially because there's going to have been change, and you know that. And so we are playing on that as well. The other thing that really makes us stand out in this microlearning professional skills development world is our customer service. And so our content team is in-house and our service team is in-house as well. And part of that content team is actually going to be connected to your customer service team so that we can strategically create learning journeys that make sense for your team. So moving forward, I want to talk a little bit more about that. Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, will you go back one for me?
Yep.
Thank you.
Got it. My bad there.
No worries. Um, it's really a huge asset for you. We do not charge for this. I have clients that meet with our customer service manager weekly. You can meet with them as much or as little as you would like, but our goal is truly to be an extension of your team. So although we have thousands of assets within our library, we don't expect you to be going through and weeding through and trying to figure out what's going to be the most effective within your industry, within your type of population, where you are on your learning journey. That's what our team does for you. And the very first thing that they will do is what we call a design session, where they will actually sit down with you and discuss what kind of initiatives do you have going on right now? What have you delivered and what has worked? What hasn't worked? What's been challenging for you? What's been easy for you? What do you have coming up throughout the year? They're going to want to learn a little bit about your culture. Is learning something that people have their arms wide open for and are eager and ready for? Or do we have to get a little bit strategic in terms of ways to engage your team? And that customer service team is actually rewarded based on your success. So it is of the utmost importance to them that you are successful. And really, the way that we measure success is the amount of engagement that your team is having with the content. And if you're utilizing our platform with our platform, I do want to note that we are a content team. So although we actually have a few different platforms that are available to you depending upon your need. You do not need to utilize any of our platforms. We can take any of our content pieces out, SCORM wrap them, and deliver them through your learning management system. So with that, I'd really like to jump in and have Hannah go through some of the visuals in terms of what this experience could look like for you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Erin. I just want to say sorry for spamming through the slide there.
No
Just
worries.
a couple of technical difficulties are expected when I'm running the ship, but appreciate the grace. Just wanted to say thank y'all for joining quickly. I know y'all have a lot of things on your plate, I'm sure, so we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedules and joining us for this demo. But with that said, and all that great information Erin just laid out for us, I'd love to kind of walk you all through the actual Blue Ocean Brain site and the lesson in and of itself. So as you can see on my screen, this is what Erin and I see every day as we log into the Blue Ocean Brain platform. We have it branded for our HSI Blue Ocean Brain logo, the different colors. And as you can see on the top row here, we have these different thumbnails, these different pictures. What this is our lesson of the day. So this is that main thumbnail for the lesson. And of course, it's going to keep playing because, like I said, technical difficulties and me are best friends. So back on here, lesson. So this is going to be our lesson of the day, and it's broken down into 3 separate articles. We're going to have the what is this topic, why am I learning it, and then the how am I going to implement this into my everyday life. So without further ado, I'll let this run and we'll hop straight into this lesson. So as Erin said, one thing we plan is storytelling, but a big part of that is making sure things are visually beautiful. You'll see as we go through this, we use a lot of emojis, we chunk information through, and that really boosts the enjoyment factor. And as we all know, folks aren't going to engage with something if they don't think that it's interesting and enjoying.
Uh-oh, team. It looks like we might have actually lost Hannah. So what I am going to do is I am going to see if I can share my screen. Let's see here. Because I have the presentation up and ready as well. Okay. All right, Jess, let's see if yeah, thanks for your patience, everybody. We should be up and running here again in a second. So Jess, is there a way? Yeah, I can share my screen. Here we go. All right, and Jess, I'm going to look to you for feedback. Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic. Okay, so what Hannah was going through was the lesson experience itself. And like she said, it's broken down into 3 sections. So the first section is almost always going to be the what and the why. That second section is going to be how, or like some tips and tricks. And the third section is putting it into action. Now, all of these different areas are going to have multiple modalities, like I mentioned before. So you're going to have some, articles, you're going to have some reading, you're going to have some checklists like you see here. You're going to have some video clips. We partner with TED, so you'll frequently see little clips from TED Talks. You're going to have quizzes. You are going to have other downloadable materials that your team can use as well. And so, but it's always going to be broken down into those 3 sections. You can see the video here has then clicked into our library. And what we're really trying to do is we're trying to meet your learners on a couple different levels. And this is unique about Blue Ocean Brain as well. That first way that we're going to meet your learners is we are actually going to push content to them in whatever way works with your culture. So we have an app that you can utilize. There can be an email that we newsletter style push content out to your learners. We can link into your SharePoint or your intranet or your Teams network. We can actually pull the content out and push it through your LMS. Wide variety of strategies in terms of the way that we deliver to your team. But once we deliver that to your team, we want to serve them up something that maybe, we don't know what they don't know what they don't know. So we want to spark their interest on something that might be new information for them. However, we also on the back end want them to have this library that they can search for content and get whatever they need in almost a just-in-time learning experience. And so, hey, we've got Hannah back. Awesome.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I saw that your battery was about to die, and I was afraid it was going to die on you. Are you good to
I
go?
thought I had the juice, but technology loves to play games with us. So my
Yeah.
apologies, everybody, for that hiccup.
Nope, you are totally fine. No worries. So this is perfect, Hannah, because this is where you shine. So I've
Yes.
gotten into this slide here. Hannah's big on fun, so I'm going to let you take it over from here.
Yes, I am. Before I do, I just saw a question pop up in the chat now that I'm not.
Awesome. Yeah.
Dwayne Ross asking what other federal government organizations that we're currently working with and if we're FedRamped. I know for a fact our FedRAMP is something that we're working on, something that's in progress. I'm sure, as you know, Dwayne, that's a really long process. So that's something that we've been in the process of working with. I'm thinking of government organizations, and Aaron, any coming to mind?
Yeah, absolutely, Hannah. So just off the top of my head, I know the Federal Reserve is a client of ours, and we have the Fed in multiple states and multiple areas. So that's sort of like a multi-layered client of ours. I'm trying to think of who else just pops to mind. That is, so I do know the short answer to your question is we actually do have clients that fall into that government realm. I have a couple different counties that are clients of mine as well. So it kind of, depends on which level of government you're talking about. But we'd certainly love to connect with you and, have some time to get a list for you. And, my favorite conversations are the one that happen from our current clients to our future clients, because Hannah and I can talk all day long, but what you're really going to believe is somebody that's been partnered with us for a period of time and had success. So we're going to give you the opportunity to schedule a consultation at the end of this demo. Please take advantage of that. It's super, super easy process. Hannah, any other questions out there?
Let's see. Looks like we got all the other ones. That one literally just popped up as I hopped back in the chat. So
perfect.
Yep, all good. Wonderful. Well, now that I'm back, I'm glad just in time to kick off this quick brain break. We're big on brain breaks here at Blue Ocean Brain and HSI. So take a moment, relax, crack your knuckles, get those hands on the keyboard. All right, we're going to take a little brain break. So here's the question. All right, and pop open the chat. Like I said, I want to see I love Dwayne popping that question in there. I want to see some answers flying, and Jess is going to help us here. But all right, you ready? What do Coco Gauff, the Bear, and Lionel Messi have in common? Coco Gauff, mind you, She's a professional tennis player. She is, I think, under 25, already has several major open wins.
Incredible.
It's just absolutely incredible. A lot of folks calling her the young Venus or the young Serena Williams, but I just think that she is Coco Gauff. So, but go ahead, check in those answers. I see some popping up spots. Sports top player. I love that. The Bear, if you don't know, is a TV show about Michelin star restaurant on Netflix. So expert level in their field. Smoking. Okay. Smoking.
Height.
Height.
Height in here as well.
Good. They're definitely really all close in height. Lionel Messi is only 5'5", 5'4". The F word? Heck yes. Absolutely. Yes. As a fellow athlete myself, I know that the F word is every athlete's favorite word. Working hard to achieve their goals. I love that. I love that. That's probably the realest answer we'll get. Younger than me. Younger than probably most of us, if not all of us. That's for sure on Coco Gauff's side. But all right, let's see. One more answer and then we'll kick off. We'll give you the answer. Let's see. Someone chuck one more in there. Anyone else? Countdown in my head. Getting paid more than me. I love that. Humble. Humble is huge. If you've watched any of these athletes or this show, humility and humble willingness to change is what it's all about. I love that answer. All right, but you guys, way more detailed answers. Aaron, you want to show them the answer?
Oh, I forgot that I'm running the show here.
Yeah, I was about to say, no, I'm back.
Yep. Thanks, Anna.
Yes, adapts in the moment. I love that. That is really probably the biggest similarity. But no, is that they live in our library, right? So all of the lessons that we've built on them live in our HSI Blue Ocean Brain library. What's really neat about those topics and those folks specifically is that they're spread throughout our library. So they don't all just live, say, in the creativity and innovation. All of these different pop culture lessons, whether they're sports, whether they're shows, Pokemon, Big Bird, they're going to live in different aspects and they're going to be spread throughout these topics. I see that comment from Jess. Yes, love it. Thank you. And what's really great about this too is that this is a piece, you can see the HSI Blue Ocean Brain. When it comes to professional skills development, this is really a nice piece specific to this Blue Ocean Brain modality that we've walked through. But in terms of our ability to kind of build a learning journey that Aaron talked about earlier, we have multiple modalities that we pull from and create a really holistic learning experience to dive into, say, a compliance piece, knowledge check piece, but also really, like we've talked about, making this a staple of your culture, making these attributes, these aspects, these skills, a daily practice at your organization. So without further ado, Aaron, you can click on through, and I believe this is where you'll dive into a live customer example. So if you pause that video, Aaron.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. You know what to do.
Absolutely. So I actually want to go back here because this is one of my favorite slides that we're going to show here. So I want to discuss this screen before it kind of gets rolling. But every single one of our clients receives a slightly different version of Blue Ocean Brain because we customize it so that it really feels like your own. And again, that's assuming you utilize our platform, which I just want to repeat is not necessary. We can take our content out, and I'll talk in a minute about how we can customize the content itself so that it feels like your organization's learning experience. But I'm going to start with the platform if you do utilize our platform. On the top row that you see here is going to be the lesson itself that Hannah and I were discussing earlier that's broken down into those 3 sections. So within each 10-minute learning experience, our goal is to cover, what are we talking about and why are we talking about it? Maybe some tips and tricks or like some of the how. And then our goal is always to move from awareness to action. So at the end, they've got some items, action items that they can actually take into the workplace in that day. That's our goal on that top row. That's going to be the lesson itself. It can change with whatever cadence you want, and that is customized per client. So I have clients where that lesson changes every day, really pulling on, like I was saying earlier, we know there's a connection between that constant change and engagement, similar to my analogy with like the news or the weather, things like that. But if you're not ready for that and you just want to have it change once a week, once a month, whatever cadence you want, we customize that to your need. This bottom row is also highly customizable. So the bottom row is going to have some interactive exercises, some gamification. We might put people in a particular, give them an example of an experience and ask them how they would respond and give them some, constructive feedback based on their answer. It might be something that is very gamified, where we are frequently talking about in our leadership materials, starting with the end in mind. It might be a game about, working backwards within that game. We're going to have some quotes there. We can also customize learning journeys like you see in the tile here on the bottom right. And so now I'm going to click play so you can see what that looks like as we click into those learning journeys. This is a client, you can see we've grayed some of this out because this is an actual client, where we've taken their leadership values and competencies and created learning journeys that go within each of those competencies and values for them. And then that tile or that square that you see there on that main landing page, that's going to be up anytime anyone logs in. So different cadence of change throughout the landing page. And something I want to note too, we have plenty of clients that it doesn't even need to be a learning journey. It might be something where, June is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And so you might have lessons around mental health, but you might also have something within your benefits program where there's a hotline people can call if they're
Aaron,
struggling.
we just got a use case request
Yeah.
as you kind of dive into that. So great.
Yeah, awesome.
So, folks, Dwayne in the chat asking that, saying it's all self-directed and customized, which is great, but where can a learner interact with others? Thinking about using this to engage with new supervisors, is there a potential use case in using like breakout groups or diving in for specific work groups to interact with folks? I know I
Oh my
can work on
gosh.
it, but you go ahead and I'll see
Yeah.
if mine's out.
Yeah, so really, really good question, because that's where you see a lot of change, right? Is when you can kind of take it out of the computer and pull it into the workplace. And there's a few different answers I've got for you. So at one point, we actually did look into having like a chat set up on the landing page. And the issue with that was it needed to be monitored. And organizations didn't want to have to monitor that. And so what we created was the ability to take each of those 10-minute lessons and actually email it out. So there's a functionality on our landing page where you can email that out to anyone you'd like on your team. And it provides the opportunity to put a little message as well. And so you can say, hey, I took a look at this lesson and I thought we could discuss this next Friday with our team. And then, as I'm going to actually show you on the next slide, we actually have facilitators guides that we provide for any leaders that are willing to take that extra step. And I'll get to that in a minute. But there's something else that I wanted to discuss, is the ability to, within that landing page. So going back to the main landing page here, we can take any of these. Oh, sorry. Let me
Just pause the button again.
bring it back for you and hit pause. Okay. Help desk Hannah. Thank you.
Well, apparently not. My laptop charger is
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Happens to the best of us. But we can take any of these tiles or even the banners at the top and link out to anything you need. So if you do have an internal chat section, maybe on your Teams or your Slack or your Yammer, we can actually link out to that where people can have discussions. So that's just another opportunity that they have to interact with the content. Hannah, is there anything that comes to mind for you before I jump into those leadership briefs?
Yeah, just thinking the way that you were kind of talking specifically with new supervisors, Dwayne, one really cool ability with our platform is to create, and we didn't, exemplify this today, but it's to create what we call content groups. what that gives you all as administrators the ability to do is segment our platforms for specific groups of individuals. So if you wanted to have an onboarding group, a supervisor group, and an HR group, that's something that a lot of our clients use frequently. So that, to your point, Dwayne, when they click into the leaderboard, the names that they see next to them on their leaderboard that they compete against to be able to share articles with, the names, I'm sorry, on the leaderboard that they can compete with are specifically the new supervisors. It's specifically folks are onboarding. So you can kind of gauge down our website to specifically access certain groups within organizations. And that also includes different content schedules. So they get different content on different cadences with different customizable tiles. So if you wanted to break this down for your supervisors, we can do that. Or as Aaron said, if you wanted to blow open communication and create maybe specific links for folks to have those conversations, we can do that as well. So when it comes to customizing, really the sky's the limit for most aspects of our platform.
Yeah, the one other thing that I will say, because I didn't mention it earlier, we know there's a connection between healthy competition in the workplace and employee engagement. So there's actually a leaderboard. Your learners are getting points based on their interactivity with the content, the videos, answering questions correctly, doing some of the interactive exercises. So that in and of itself creates a lot of gamification and a lot of people just talking smack about being on the leaderboard, but there's nothing punitive about it. You have to be in the top 10 on a variety of levels in order to land on that leaderboard, but it works. In the time that I've been here, I can say it's incredibly effective in terms of really getting people engaged and getting them talking about the material. So with just a little bit of time that we have left, I want to jump into my favorite. Oh, more questions. Awesome.
Can we just tackle them real quick?
Absolutely. Yeah.
One I can answer right away. Can folks receive badges, and can those be customized to an organization's branding? Yes and yes. So we can send off badges, or actually, I believe for Blue Ocean Brain specifically, Aaron, they're going to be Blue Ocean Brain points badges. Is that
That's
accurate?
correct.
Yes.
That's correct. Yep. Yep.
Now, if we wanted to blow that open with our learning journeys that we showed you earlier, we can make those specific to your organizations in terms of completions for those journeys. But for badges, it's going to be based on the Blue Ocean Brain points that you accumulate. And then another question or just kind of comment, I have 10 competency-based training options that are rotated monthly as short live training opportunities. My goal is to take this asynchronously. So
and that's something we do all day long.
Matching competencies and rotating calendars to match the
align.
Schedule.
Yep. Exactly. And making sure, we'll even take a look at your materials in terms of what you're delivering in person to make sure that the concepts are aligning beautifully with what you are delivering and want to reiterate from what happened in person. So yeah, really, really good question.
Yeah. So go ahead, Aaron. I won't interrupt you.
Yeah. This is one of my favorite things. They are our leadership briefs. This started more recently. This started in about 2021, and from requests from our clients, as most changes to our product are directly requested from our clients and have taken off like wildfire. And their goal is to take the content and enable a leader to facilitate an internal conversation using the topics within our content. They're always going to be broken down in a similar fashion. You're going to have your 3 sections. That first section is going to review the content. Sometimes it's 1 lesson, sometimes it's 2 lessons, but we want to make sure we're crystal clear in terms of what the point was within the content that we're reviewing. The second section is always going to have some discussion starters for your leaders, because what we were hearing is we have leaders that are willing to take that step to facilitate those conversations, but they simply do not have the time to come up with discussion starters and exercises, which leads me to that third section. And the third section is full of exercises that your team can do within that internally facilitated conversation. And so these are available for your leaders. One of the use cases is frequently to email out one of the lessons and say, hey, we're going to have a discussion on this lesson. Please come prepared with a question or a personal story. And then that leader has this guide ready to go for them. So I just peeked at the time. I know we're bumping up against the end of our time. Hannah and I really appreciate your time, interest, and attention. You can use this this little screen here to schedule your own consultation. And we look forward to getting to talk with you.
Yeah, thanks, y'all. I'm sorry that I had to jump out and in, but glad we could tackle some of those questions as we went throughout our presentation. And really appreciate, like I said, y'all's time out of your day. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Erin and Hannah. Just real quick, I wanted to throw it back to you to see if there was any final thoughts that you had to share or anything cool that Blue Ocean Brain has going on that you'd like to share with our attendees.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always cool stuff that's
Yeah.
going on. We are actually now growing our library so that we can have multiple modality learning within our library. So right now we have the one style lesson with the 3 sections. And we also are incorporating another style of learning that's video-based only. Tends to work really well with like manufacturing populations or retail populations. So that's always new functionality that's coming. We're changing things in terms of our search functionalities also, so that when you search the living library, you can pull up not only lessons, but articles within the lessons. Hannah, anything else pop to mind?
No, I was going to say AI search features so that we're really optimizing searches for folks. And yeah, being able to push in different modalities so that things like cybersecurity compliance and different compliance realms can start to live in the platform. So that's kind of a all-in-one, one-stop shop experience. That's really what we're all about at HSI Bob. So yeah, that's what's on the coming down the pipe.
Well, lovely. Thank you so much to you both. And thank you to our attendees for your participation and your great questions. And thank you again to Blue Ocean Brain for today's demo. We're going to go ahead and take a short break before our 5th and final demo at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much.